couple of years ago in Bombay, we found this bird that had fallen out of a nest.
Hey, buddy.
He was a mess. He was scraggly and beat up and just, he looked like an idiot. But seeing as how he was just about the ugliest thing any of us had ever seen, we took pity on him and placed him in a cage and fed him wet dog food and tried to make him better. It was around this time that I named him Jim, because it was just about the worst name for a bird that I could come up with. Anyway, Jim got better. He got bigger, too. And louder. Then one day he was gone. He just flew away. I thought, well, it's the last we'll ever see of Jim. Later, Jim. But Jim turned up the next morning. Just, louder than ever.
Hi.
Jim ended up moving into this big pile of twisted metal and wreckage that we had in the backyard for some reason. And I set him up with one of these, something baths. I don't know, bird bath maybe? I forget what the f*** called. Anyway, Jim hung out screaming day in and day out. He'd use his little fountain shower thing. Anyway, I had to move, so I was all, what do? Do I move away? Just move away from Jim? Does Jim even know how to find food yet? I don't know. So we took Jim with us. Came with us to the high desert, where he had it made. I mean, just look at the size of this bullshit pool thing I hooked him up with. Then one morning I woke up and Jim was gone. The last time I saw that bird, he was running through the terminal of the bus station. And he'd turn and he'd see me and our eyes would meet for a moment. But nothing, no acknowledgement, as he disappeared onto the belly of that great diesel behemoth. Nothing was going to get between him and the big city. The greatest city in the world. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now he ain't written, or called, or even sent a fax. And I wonder often what he's made of himself there in that shining city. But then, just yesterday, I'm out there in the ghost corral, bopping the ghost on the head, as I do. I get a phone call, and it's Keith. And I think to myself, why would Keith call me? So I pick up and I say, yeah, hello, Keith. Keith says, RJ, hear me out. I just saw your bird. He was starring in a softcore pornography film that I was working on in Albuquerque. And then Keith proceeded to describe the pornography in great, great detail, to the point where I was actually forced to interrupt him and say, you know, Keith, I gotta say, this sounds more like a hardcore pornography to me. And Keith is like, you know, maybe, but you want me to say anything to him? I said, Keith, you saw the whole movie? Keith is like, yeah, man. Then truthfully, this might be a weird question, but, how big would you say the bird's, or rather, what would you rate his cock? Keith says, I don't know, average, man. Like a B or maybe a C+, I guess. So let's call that a B. And then Keith says, you know, these questions are kind of starting to weird me out, man. And I'm like, wait, you're weirded out? Keith, you're like 14 years old or something, and you keep calling me to brag about working on pornographic films starring animals, and you're crossing state lines to do this? You're going to Albuquerque? Yeah, I should have called the police a week ago. And then Keith is like, all right, man, just chill. Just wanted to see if you wanted me to say anything to your bird for you. So I told him, you know what you can tell him? Tell him to take that shitty bee cock of his and go fuck himself. Because I've moved on. I got peacocks now. Then I hung up on Keith, because Keith sucks. Then I proceeded to smash my phone into non-working order. Once I was sure it was broken, I dug a small hole. I placed my phone in the hole, and then I replaced the dirt on top. Then I took a can of spray paint and marked the spot on the ground where I buried the phone with a small X. This is important for when I need to relocate the broken phone later. Oh wait, is that still racist to do? When that was all finished, I went up on the roof to watch the UFOs dance in the sunset. I thought about giving Hideous Barry a call to come hang out, but my phone was all the way down there in that hole, broken. So instead I just watched the UFOs do their thing and waited for that old squid moon to rise over those hills. Anyway, so Jim, yeah, that was a bird I once knew. It's really strange to think of him as a porn star now. He always had a pretty unremarkable penis.
Though you may not drive